So development administration and administrative development. These two are interrelated and interdependent concepts. In togetherness, they constitute one cyclical process, self-sustaining cyclical process. It is closely associated with the topic of comparative public administration. But right now we are discussing mainly this development administration and administrative development. It is also known as development of administration is also known as administration of development, and administrative development is also known as development of administration. So development is common to these two concepts. One who is not well developed cannot orchestrate development in others. I repeat, one who is not competent himself cannot make others competent. Same is the case with administration, public administration, that an administration which is not competent, administration which lacks professional competence and capabilities, administration which is not well developed in terms of its institutional strength or capacity, rules, regulation, intra-organizational management of affairs. If the administration is not well developed, how can it manage or how can it administer the process of development for the benefit of society? In very briefly, this is basically this is basically the concept that we are going to discuss. That administration which is not so well developed cannot administer the process of development. So we need development of administration so that it could administer the process of development. Administering the process of development is known as development administration, and development of administration is known as administrative development. One clear? So both of them are interrelated, interdependent concept. Clear? If administration is well developed, it will contribute immensely in the process of development of society, and if society is well developed, it will contribute to the growth and development of administration. So both of them are interdependent and interrelated. Now come to development. First of all, what is development? Development is common in this concept. Development, unlike growth, is a qualitative expression, and it is very broad in its thematic content. Development, unlike growth, is not only about increase in the flow of goods and services or increase in per capita income or GDP of the country. Development is much more than that. Growth is an important part of development. Growth is an important part of development. Without growth, development is not possible. But development is much more than growth. It is not only about increasing the flow of goods and services. It is about distributive justice. It is about empowerment of society. Development is about a process which contributes or makes some kind of value addition to the quality of the life of people, social life, economic life, political life, or cultural life. Development is about capacity building. Development is about creating a conducive environment for the expression of fuller potential of individuals, groups, communities, or any region. So that not only development takes place within the country or in a community, it also contributes to the process of development of the entire world. So development is a qualitative expression. It is about capacity building. It is about creation of opportunity. And once this cyclical process begins, it orchestrates growth. So growth and development, both of them are interrelated, interdependent. Point clear? So growth leads to development, and if a society is well developed, then it starts writing its growth story. So growth is orchestrated by development. If the development is not taking place and growth is taking place, if the growth is taking place without development, it cannot be sustained for long. So growth must necessarily be orchestrated. If it has to be a sustained growth, then it has to be orchestrated by the development of the society. That's why the governments all over the world are so much concerned with the case of development. It is just not enough to produce more, to ensure the increase in the flow of goods and services. It is necessary how you are going to make use of those resources for the capacity building, for creation of opportunity, how nicely you take up, how prudently and efficiently you take up the subject matters like public health, education, infrastructure, environmental conservation, and lot many things. Then only our society can qualify to be called genuinely a developed society. And the society is well developed. People are educated. People are educated and they are sound in terms of health, and there's a lot of opportunity, and they have capacity to avail of those opportunities. They have a very progressive, integrative value system. So people are aware of their rights, and they also respect the rights of others. They are right conscious as well as duty conscious. There is no gender based discrimination. Social structure is free from age old tradition, customs, inhibitive tradition and custom which restrict the flow of life. So people know how much to retain as a part of your tradition and culture and how much to be shed off. They are very clear in terms of the ultimate objectives of life. So life is more important than anything. And to live a good life means that apart from being right conscious, you have to be duty conscious as well. So when we talk about development, we are not just talking about goods and services and bounties to be thrown in society. We are not just talking about increase in the GDP or per capita income, agricultural growth or industrial growth. It is much more than that. Overall improvement in the quality of life of people. That is development. And development by its very nature is a collective enterprise. Development means improvement in the quality of life of people in all dimensions. It is not possible by unilateral action of the government. It requires action of the government. Then it requires contribution from your judiciary, from civil society or media, then bureaucracy. It means all three wings of the government. All the three wings of government, which also include entire administrative system, public institutions, agencies, and then extra constitutional bodies as well, civil society and media, the corporate world, then several voluntary agencies, research and development organizations, all put together contribute in the process of development. So development is a collective enterprise, and development is a multi-starrer script. Development by its very nature is like a multi-star movie. A script of development cannot be executed by any actor alone. You need two or more actors, very good actors, to implement or execute the script of development. Just like महाभारत में कितने सारे पात्र हैं आप देखिए, हर एक की अपनी अहमियत है, हर कोई अपने रोल को बहुत अच्छी तरह निभाता है, तब जाकर महाभारत की कथा संपूर्ण होती है. आप भीष्म पितामह को एक बार अगर हटा दें तो पूरी कहानी ढह जाएगी. अगर द्रौपदी को हटा दें तो भी कहानी टूट जाएगी. अगर अर्जुन और बाकी जो कई सारे कैरेक्टर्स हैं, अर्जुन को हटा दें या युधिष्ठिर को हटा दें अगर, तो बहुत कहानी पूरी खत्म हो जाएगी. इसका मतलब है कि अलग अलग अगर आप देखें तो हर किसी का इंपॉर्टेंस है, लेकिन व्हेन दे कम टुगेदर they give birth to one integrated script. Same is the case with development. So executive government alone, administrative or political leadership alone cannot accomplish the case of development. You need cooperation from society. You need contribution from political leadership, administrative leadership, contribution from judiciary, legislature, then several institutions and agencies, NGOs, voluntary agencies, research and development organizations, the contribution from corporate world, public at large. When all of us do work together with the spirit of unison, or unity of direction and purpose, then development becomes possible. So it happens sometimes in the course of evolution that different groups and communities in the society, the scientific community on the one hand, political leadership, administrative leadership or bureaucracy, then the corporate entities, all of them work in a kind of rhythm, and then development becomes possible. I mean to say that different institutions, agencies, groups and communities, they are required to act and to work in a mutually reinforcing matrix. They bring out the best from one another, and then development takes place. Point clear? So development requires collective enterprise. Clear? Now development administration. Development administration is a very important concept. Why? Because since long, administration has always been playing a leading role, a very important role in the process of development. So all over the world, modern democratic welfare state, wherever you go, you will find that public administration, along with several other institutions and agencies, public administration or the bureaucracy, it plays a very important role in overall development of the society. They lead from the forefront. Why? Because administration is required to make contribution not only in the policy making or formulation of plan, programs and projects, but also its execution. Administrative institutions and agencies, they collect feedback from the society. They negotiate, they interact with society, they collect feedback, they apply correctives. Public administration as an symbol of different institutions carry out multifarious functions. So quasi-legislative functions, quasi-judicial functions, main executive functions, advisory functions, several other developmental functions. There are so many functions and activities being carried out by public administration. So when we talk about development administration, we focus mainly on development. The idea is that in a modern democratic welfare state, development is such an important objective, that is such an important subject matter, that it can hardly be considered as one of the many subject matters. So in a modern democratic welfare state, which is imbued with democratic values which aim at achieving growth and development of the country and society, for that government or that country, development cannot be just one of the many subject matters. Public administration, institutions and agencies in public administration are specifically, they are required to be oriented, they are required to be trained, required to be oriented, required to be dedicated to the cause of development. So development administration is not an isolated concept. Development administration is one of the facets of public administration which is dedicated or committed to the cause of development. So development administration refers to a process which involves development administration. Development administration refers to a process which involves organization of effort by different public agencies. Organization of effort by different public agencies for the implementation of various developmental programs, projects and schemes. Why? For nation building and for socio-economic progress. I repeat, development administration is not an isolated concept. Development administration is that facet or one of the facets of public administration. It refers to that process. Which involves organization of effort by different public agencies. Why? To implement different kind of development, different types of development programs, projects and schemes. For what? For the development, for the growth and development of the society. So implementation of such programs on sustained basis. It may be related to education, related to public health or social justice or women empowerment, child development, environmental conservation, or for that matter, providing stability to the polity of the country, the economy of the country, or contributing in the process of all those activities which lead to increase in the per capita income. So all such, the contribution, all such subjects are required to be taken care of, specifically by some dedicated or well-trained and well-calibrated agencies, and put together it defines the case of development administration. So development administration is related to the process which is outward. Development administration is related to a process which is concerned with efficient implementation of different programs, projects, schemes by public or governmental agencies. For what? For the development of the society. But this administration of the process of development, is possible only when administration itself is well developed. And then we come to the concept of administrative development. It's very simple. Development of administration and administration of development, both of them are interrelated concepts. Administration of development is a very complex exercise. Administration of development, it means you are organizing the effort or the contribution of different agencies. For what? For implementation of programs, projects. For what? So as to provide different kinds of benefit to the society. What kind of benefit? Education, public health, social justice, women empowerment, child development, environmental conservation, protection, then stability to economy, stability to the polity of the country. Lot many things are there. So development administration involves issues like organization of efforts, proper supervision, issuance of direction, or for that matter dispersal of power, authority, jurisdiction, then maintaining unity of direction and purpose, then exercising vigilance, collecting feedback, applying correctives. It means sum total of all those activities which are deployed for what? deployed so as to implement developmental programs and project schemes efficiently for the benefit of society. This is possible only when administration is well developed. If the administration is not well developed, how can it administer the complex process of development, which involves a vast matrix of institutions and agencies carrying out different kind of activities and functions? So that this process of development, the complex process of development, is properly administered, we need administrative system itself to be well developed. And here we come to the concept of administrative development. Administrative development and outward through development administration. Administrative development is also known as development of administration, and development administration is also known as administration of development. When I am developed, then only I can administer the process of development for the benefit of society. And you cannot take this lightly. Administration of the development requires a lot of skill, lot of prudence, lot of organizing ability. Otherwise, despite having abundant resources, you won't be able to reach out to the masses. Despite having adequate resources, material resource, human resource, or natural capital, human capital, all material things, despite the availability of resources, you won't be able to bridge the gap between what you are capable of doing and what you are actually doing. It requires very good organization, and very good organization means the proper coordination or supervision, direction, control, planning, collection of feedback, application of characteristics, lot many things are there. So for administration of development, you need development of administration or administrative development. Administrative development now includes lot many things. Basically, administrative development is concerned with strengthening and improving the institutional capacity of administration. Strengthening and improving the institutional caliber or capacity of the administration. And if you want to improve the capacity of administration, capabilities of administration, what are the areas that you need to focus on? It's very simple. If this is an organization, so in an organization, suppose this is an organization. So in this organization, you have a structural dimension, you have procedural dimension, you have behavioral dimension, lot many things are there. So if you really want to improve the capability of this administration, then you will have to ensure that intra-organization, within the organization, intra-organization operations are brought on scientific lines. Its structure of the organization is rationalized. Rationalization of a structure would mean that you take appropriate decision. Where the hierarchy is very long, then it has to be shortened. Or structure may be more horizontal than vertical. Then power, authority, jurisdiction is required to be meaningfully dispersed along vertical lines and horizontal line. Then you work on the rules, regulation and procedures. Rules, regulations and procedures are required to be simplified on scientific lines. The greater the simplicity, the more will be the efficiency. But it does not mean that you compromise with the imperativeness of security and stability or accountability. Keeping these objectives uppermost in mind, you take decisions regarding rules and procedures. So it's structural rationalization, then procedural simplification, and then the most important thing, you need to work on the personnel, the members of the administration, members of the organization, their overall behavioral response. So they are required to be trained well. You are required to impart them that professional competence and skill. For the professional competence and skill, they are required to be provided with best of the tools, techniques, method and the process, all the management tools and techniques which have evolved over a long period of time. So overall, enhancing or improving the capabilities of the functionaries or the members of the organization, officials, I am talking about all the members of the organization, not only officials. So overall, their behavioral response has to be far more efficient and far more effective. So training is an important part. So you work on morale, motivation, communication, then decision making ability of the members of organization. Then they are also required to be trained in terms of human rights and some human rights or organizational values, or those principles and values which govern our constitution, entire political administrative system. Training has to be not only procedural in nature, it should be genuinely enriching in terms of value system of the society and the value system of the organization. So democratization of the administration is essential. is important. So overall, you improve the capability or the quality of response of the administration to the society. So administrative development. Administrative development is about development of administration, and development of administration means that you have to work on the structural aspect, you have to work on the procedural aspect, then you have to work on the behavioral aspect. Overall, you need to improve the level of competence and caliber of administration so that they are made capable of mobilizing resources, consolidating it, making utilization of the same, making proper allocation and utilization of the same, collecting feedback, and the process goes on and on. An efficient administration, effective administration tends to develop a cyclical process, a positive and sustainable cyclical process with the society, that you keep providing goods and services with an element of consistency, discipline, efficiency and economy, and you get similar kind of support, the support from the society, and the process goes on and on. So therefore we need to achieve administrative development. We need to develop administration in terms of caliber, and then only this administration, well calibrated administration, can administer the process of development for the benefit of society. So development administration and administrative development, both of them are interdependent and interrelated concepts. Administration has to be dynamic. Then only it can negotiate well with the challenges thrown by the external environment. I hope the point is clear. So this is development administration, as I discussed, a complex of organizational arrangements to carry out sustained effort, by whom? By public agencies. Towards what? Towards nation building, then socioeconomic progress. And what are the subject matters to be taken care of in a modern democratic welfare state? Quite common. You work on health, education, environment, infrastructure, stability to polity and economy, doing something to raise national income, and lot many things are there. So this is your development administration. Development administration refers to a process regarding what? Organization of effort and contributions by different public agencies for what? To implement various development programs, projects and schemes efficiently. Why? To benefit the society, to improve the quality of life of the people, working on education, public health, all such subject matters. Clear? And then you have administrative development. It's nothing रटने की जरूरत नहीं, याद करने की जरूरत नहीं, एकदम simple. Administrative development means you are improving the capability of administration. उसका मतलब ये है कि you have to work on structural aspect, procedural aspect, behavioral aspect. Okay, and then some other subject matters. Fine. So it is development and improvement of institutional capacity broadly. Then structural rationalization, administrative institutions के structure को rationalize करना. Structure बहुत बड़ा भी नहीं होना चाहिए और बहुत छोटा भी नहीं होना चाहिए. Scientifically it should be designed. Then power, authority, jurisdiction, all such things should be dispersed very meaningfully. बहुत ज़्यादा, too much of authority at the top, and too less of authority at the bottom. ठीक है, too much of responsibility at the bottom and much less of responsibility. So it means if authority and responsibility, power, jurisdiction, etc., these are not properly dispersed in the organization, so body will be unbalanced one, and that will lead to friction, conflict, and lot many things. So structural rationalization, then procedural simplification, I have already discussed on scientific lines. Then modern tools, techniques of management, should be adopted by public agencies so as to improve their efficiency, to improve their caliber. And in the wake of IT revolution, quite simple, digital governance has to be incorporated in the idea of development, in the idea of administrative development. In modern times, that digital infrastructure has been so well developed by the government, it is being used by bureaucracy at the different levels. So it is also an important point. So making best possible utilization of a creative use of information technology for decision making as well as implementation of decisions, and then cybernetics, collection of feedback and application of correctives. This is the use of technology. Then improvement in administrative behavior. So morale, motivation, communication, leadership, decision making, overall behavioral response of the bureaucrats or the officials. This is important. Point is clear? So you have to work on the behavioral aspect. So they are required to be trained well. Enhancing the capability of administration means enhancing the potential and the capabilities of its officials, its members. And enhancing their capability would mean that we have to provide better training, better skills, and training has to be not only procedural one. Training has to be in terms of values, so that they are more gender sensitive, they are more concerned with human rights, they are also aware of their sense of duty, or they are constantly they are aware of or cognizant of the fact that they are the servants and people are the masters. They are the repository of all power and authority. Point clear? So this is administrative development. Then at the top, ability to mobilize, allocate and utilize resources. Developing ability to run a self-sustaining process with society on enriching lines. Self-sustaining process possible only when your communication is very much efficient. So members of administration, they interact with society, they collect feedback from society, they apply directives, and they try to ensure that overall their performance and the whatever goods and services they are providing, it is in sync with the needs and aspirations of the society. That trust and confidence is earned by administration. So trust and confidence, public trust and confidence is required to be earned, and once it is earned, it makes quite easier for administration to take even tough decisions or to pursue the case of reforms with list of friction. The trust and confidence. And this is the presentation. Like here, administration, this is administrative development. Inner circle is related to administration. Administrative development or development of administration. If this administration, which is an ensemble of various institutions, if this administration is well developed, then only it can carry out, it can administer the process of development. Okay? And society will be benefited. And if society is well developed, administration or development is carried out properly by administration, then it will lead to empowerment of society, enrichment of society. Not only improvement in the standard, not only it involves improvement in the standard of living in the economic sense, but in other aspects of life also you can see some kind of improvement. So if the society is well developed, they are so much educated, they will also contribute immensely, they will contribute meaningfully to administrative development. So administrative development and administration of development, these are interrelated concepts. Point clear? So if you come across any kind of question that which one should precede the other, so should we begin with administration of development or development of administration? So it's a kind of chicken egg causation. It's a kind of chicken egg causation. कौन पहले आया, मुर्गी या अंडा? इसमें फंसने की जरूरत नहीं है. इसको हम लोग sequentially follow नहीं करते. इसका मतलब है कि simultaneously we have to work on development of administration to ensure that administration or development is adequately taken care of. We have to work simultaneously in both spheres. Then only we can achieve synchronization. Objective should be to achieve that self-sustaining cyclical process based on trust, confidence and reciprocal relationship between administration and society. So this is development of administration. If it is well developed, then only it can contribute immensely for the development of society. If society is well developed, they can contribute in number of ways to the development of administration. So these are interrelated and interdependent concept. Up to this point, I hope it's clear. This is the next diagram. Very simple. This is development of administration. This is administration of development. So administration of development or development administration, it refers to the process. What kind of process? Which involves what? Organization of effort being made by different institutions and agencies of administration for the benefit of society. And remember, this development of administration and administration of development, this entire process, it does not operate in isolation from the society. It takes place within the broader bounds of society. You have social system, you have political system, you have cultural system, and you have economic system. So this is the ecological setting of development of administration and administration of development. So the extent to which administration will be capable of administering the process of development successfully, or the extent to which development of administration will take place, it depends on what kind of political system administration is operating within. What is the nature of political system? What is the nature of social system? What is the nature of cultural or economic system? All such things, political system, social system, cultural and political systems, all put together define the environment, ecology of administration, with which it has mutually influencing relationship. What kind of political values and the principles govern govern the functioning of the political leadership of the country or different political parties. Because how do they respond to a given situation? Which one is more important for them, the larger national interest or narrow political interest? Political parties, they respond to one another. And then the political discourse of the country, who decides and who determines what is the level, what is the standard? Do they think of next election only, or they are also capable of thinking about the next generation? What kind of social system you have? What kind of social structure? Is it stratified social structure, caste-ridden society? You are still continuing with those inhibitive and discriminatory, customs or tradition or the value system, without much understanding as to what are the things to be retained and what are the things to be shed off, which have become irrelevant. What kind of social system it is? Is it defined by gender equality? Is it defined by the social justice or economic justice? Is it free from one other forms of exploitation? See the level of education of women. What is the status of our children, infant mortality rate, and all what we think, literacy rate, education, and a public health. All such factors are required to be taken into consideration. So, what kind of social system you have? What kind of economic system you have? What kind of economic system we have, inspired by capitalist ideology or inspired by socialist ideology? Or government is more concerned with investment, production, consumption, savings only, or government is concerned. Actually, the government is concerned with improvement in the quality of life of people. The government has a long-term approach and vision for the economic growth and development of society, or it is concerned only with just management of deficit in the short term. So what kind of economic system we have, what kind of social system we have, what kind of political system, what kind of cultural system, all such things put together define the environmental or ecological setting of administration. So therefore, administration of development or development of administration, this entire process and phenomena, it is influenced, it is affected by this ecological or environmental setting. Point is clear? So what is happening here in administration will have implications for development process. By consequence, it will have implications for the society. And contemporary times, when we are not living in isolation from the world, we are living in an increasingly globalizing world. India is a part of a global political economic system, cultural system, and as a consequence of which we are affecting others and we are getting affected by others. So what is happening here? A development of administration will have implications not only for administration of development and the society, it may have implications for our equation of relationship with the outside world, external world. And what is happening in the world, in different parts of the world? India is a member of tens of regional organizations, a member of international organizations. We are constantly under, the matrix of, we have number of rights and obligations emanating from our membership of several organizations. So all such things, developments which are taking place in different parts of the world will have implications for this process of administration of development and development of administration. So positive as well as negative. Point is clear? In the history of mankind, what we are seeing today was never seen, in the past. So today we have number of opportunities and we have number of problems as well. If something wrong happening, something wrong is happening there at the global level, it will have negative implications for us. And again, there are a number of global opportunities. We can also avail of that. Comparative study was never so easy. So we can learn easily from the experiences of others and we can share our experience with others for their benefit. So we are living in this kind of increasingly globalizing world. So what is happening in the innermost circle will have implications for not this intermediate and outer circle, but extreme outer circle for the world. And what is happening at the global level will have implications for our society. It is being shown here. So this is the innermost circle, development, administration, inner circle, outer circle, extreme outer. So what is happening at the global level will have implications for your society, will have implications for your administration, and then what is happening within the bounds of administration will have implications for society and the entire world. And if these developments are taking place, try to focus here, if these developments, because nothing remains static, everything is constantly changing and evolving. So your administrative system administrative system, or for that matter society or the global realities, everything is constantly changing. If as far as possible, if we succeed in achieving some kind of synchronization, getting a point, then the things will be smooth and it will be without friction. It means your administration is evolving in pace with the evolution of society. Sometimes it may happen that administration takes the lead. Administration is moving ahead very fast and it takes the society along. Or sometimes when society is more progressive, then society exerts pressure. It is evolving very fast and then it exerts pressure on administration for change. So okay, it may be epicenter may lie in the administration, or for that matter in society. But as far as possible, we should try to achieve that conjunction. The greater the amount of conjunction, or you can say the pace of change is consistent, is equal to one another. So that extent, there will be lesser amount of friction and conflict, and development, reforms, change will become far more easier, will become easier and will far more meaningful. Without much friction, it will be meaningful. So this is the kind of pace. Synchronized movement means lesser friction and more efficiency. So when you think of development administration, or for that matter administration of development, you should also think of the environmental conditions within the bounds of which such things are taking place. And in contemporary times, when you think of development administration of development, you cannot afford not to include the issues concerning human rights, issues concerned with climatic conditions and the global climatic conditions, and issues related to the global climatic stability, also the environmental conservation protection. These things are required to be taken into consideration. And then IT. In contemporary times, when we think of development administration or administration of development, IT has come to play a very important role. Role of information technology too has to be understood and has to be appreciated. Administrative development without taking advantage of information technology or digital infrastructure, will not be up to the mark. So there will be a huge gap between what is expected and what the administration will be performing. Digital governance or the digital infrastructure and IT revolution, information technology has come to play a very important role. Whether it is about administering the process of development efficiently, or for that matter strengthening or improving the capabilities of administration. So IT, information technology, has to be connected to both of the concept, administrative development and development administration. And then at the larger context, in the larger context, information technology has played a very important role in creating a borderless world as far as communication or mutually influencing relationship is concerned. So we are living in a borderless world as far as communication is concerned. Information technology has brought communication with the speed, it has made communication with the speed and economy it's possible. It has removed barriers in various aspects of life. But like any other technology, it too has its limitations which are required to be addressed. And that is true to any technology. Every technology is a double-edged sword. To what extent we take advantage of technology depends on our ability to avail of its benefits and to neutralize as far as possible its demerits and disadvantage. It depends on our creativity and our prudence, our sense of responsibility. So development administration and administrative development has to be seen in the larger context of increasingly globalizing world, has to be seen in the context of IT revolution, and then in the context of that country where it has to take place, that environmental conditions, political conditions, socioeconomic or cultural conditions, all such things put together define and determine the dynamics of development administration and administration of development. If administration is developed, then only it can contribute to the process of development of society. And if society is well developed, it can contribute immensely in the development of administration. They are interdependent, they are interrelated. Thank you.